That night, the Oak Ridge Public Library stayed open late for its annual Amnesty event. Lines of people snaked through the stacks, carrying armloads of overdue books and lost DVDs. I stood at the circulation desk, scanning barcodes, one after another, watching fines vanish with a single keystroke. $3,247 forgiven by closing time. Each patron left lighter, murmuring thanks as the system zeroed out their balances. I drove home through the rain-slicked streets of Brookhaven, my right shoulder throbbing from hours of repetitive motion. The house smelled of cigarette smoke and takeout when I stepped inside. Victor sat in his recliner, the remote in one hand and a stack of documents on the coffee table. Elena hovered in the hallway doorway like she always did when trouble brewed. "Need your signature right here?" "Soft," Victor said without looking up. His voice carried that familiar edge of impatience. The papers bore Summit River Credit Union letterhead. Another refinancing attempt on the house I'd known. My name already typed in as co-signer for a $340,000 loan. I set my bag down carefully. "I'm not signing that." Victor muted the television. His gray eyes narrowed. He stood slowly, all 6'3" of contractor bulk and sawdust scent. Elena shifted, but said nothing at first. "You live under this roof," he growled. "Free ride ends tonight. Sign it." I picked up the top page. My printed name stared back. I shook my head.
"No."
That's when he lunged. His hand clamped my wrist first, twisting hard. I yanked away on instinct. Then his fingers dug into my shoulder socket and wrenched violently. The pop echoed like a snapped branch. White-hot pain exploded down my arm and across my chest. I dropped to one knee gasping, vision blurring. A scream tore from my throat before I could stop it. "Victor." "Enough," Elena whispered from the doorway, arms crossed. She didn't move to help. "Sophia, you always push him." Victor released me, breathing heavy. She was walking out. "You saw it." I cradled my arm, fighting for air. Through the haze of agony, I noticed the scattered papers on the floor. One document already carried my forged signature on a separate car loan application dated 2 weeks earlier. My blood ran cold. "You traced my signature," I managed. Victor laughed low. "Prove it." I left that house with my shoulder hanging wrong. Elena's silence burning into my back. In the car, I voice texted my brother Alex. "I need you. Can I come over?" His reply came instantly. Doors unlocked. We hadn't spoken much in 2 years. Not since Victor convinced Elena to cut him off for refusing to enable another scheme. Tonight, I chose my side. Alex took one look at my dislocated shoulder and drove me straight to urgent care. While waiting for x-rays, the nurse asked what happened. I told the truth. Then I called the police from the exam room. Officer Ramirez arrived within the hour. I filed assault charges and identity theft reports under the fluorescent lights while Alex held my good hand. That night at Alex's apartment, pain meds dulled the edge, but not the clarity. I stared at the forged documents I'd photographed before leaving. Victor had been stealing my name for years. The library amnesty system flashed in my mind: scan, verify, forgive. But forgiveness required return. Victor had taken what was never his. I opened Alex's laptop at 3 a.m. with my arm in a sling. Public records slowly loaded. There it was, a second mortgage filed 6 weeks ago listing Sophia Lang as co-signer. I never signed it. I was at a library conference in Seattle that day. Alex leaned over my shoulder, breath catching. That bastard. We screenshot everything. The next morning we sat across from loan officer Carla Ruiz at Summit River Credit Union. She pulled the physical file. My forged signature stared back. I compared it to my driver's license card and an old lease agreement. "It's traced then scanned in," I explained. "Different pressure, Different date Inc. Ruiz frowned. The notary was James Harlan, one of Victor's buddies. I requested copies and filed a formal fraud complaint. Within hours, I'd opened an FTC case and received a police incident number. The numbers felt grounding, like catalog entries I could track. But the threats began that evening. First, text from an unknown number. Drop the charges or it gets worse. Then a photo of Alex's tires slashed to ribbons. We're not backing down, Alex said, already calling insurance. Yet the walls felt closer. Victor had gaslit and forged his way through family for years. I thought of every patron who left the library lighter that amnesty night. They returned what wasn't theirs. Victor had stolen my credit, my safety, my future. Tonight the amnesty period ended for him. We needed ironclad proof. Alex suggested the county records annex in the courthouse basement. The air smelled of mildew and old paper as we descended 3 flights of concrete stairs. My shoulder jarred with each step, but I pressed on. Digital files could be altered, paper left traces. The clerk handed over a thick manila folder after we recited the case number. 30 minutes max. No photos. I didn't need photos. I needed a librarian's eye for irregularities. Buried on page 47 was an auto loan rejection letter dated 4 months earlier. Addressed to Victor Kane and Sophia Lang at Elena's house. Insufficient income verification for cosigner. Victor had tried before and failed. So he learned what to forge. The mailing address proved Elena received it. She knew. Alex transcribed furiously. We dug deeper. Incorporation papers for Victor's 3 failed LLCs in 5 years, each listing Elena as secretary. A handwritten note stapled to a 2019 loan application read, "If Sarah won't cosign, try daughter when she's older with steadier job than the son." Sarah was our aunt who'd fled to Colorado after Victor ruined her credit. The clerk called time. Back in the lobby, I called Marcus Reed, Elena's former Facebook contact and Victor's old business partner who'd sued him. Marcus answered warily. Sophia, Elena's daughter? We met at a quiet diner 20 minutes later. Marcus looked aged beyond his years. Over coffee, he laid out Victor's pattern. Forged supply orders. Pocketed deposits. Blaming everyone else when jobs collapsed. He tried roping Elena into an equipment loan. When she hesitated, he said, "That's what Sophia's for. Kids owe their parents." Marcus showed saved texts. Victor wrote, "Sophia makes steady money now. Government library job. Good credit. Elena will get her to sign." He'd warned Elena. She replied, "Sophia needs to contribute to this family." 3 years of planning. My promotion at the library marked me as target. Marcus offered to testify. That man destroyed my business. Nearly my marriage. Back at Alex's, we compiled medical records, bank files, Marcus's statement. Threats escalated. A video showed gasoline poured on Alex's doormat. We called 911 and fled to a motel. I forwarded everything to the case file, building my catalog of evidence. The next morning, Lieutenant Harper from the Financial Crimes Unit arrived. The accelerant matched a gas can in Victor's truck. Footage showed a figure matching Victor's build. Elena was driving. They brought both in for questioning. Harper called later. Your mother participated. Phone records show threats to Marcus, Sarah, others. I thought about family loyalty. The library forgave fines when books returned. Victor and Elena had borrowed my name and never intended repayment. At the Graylight shelter downtown, we met Malik, the intake coordinator. Financial abuse escalates when victims set boundaries, he said. Our room had 2 beds and a lockable door. In the common area, I heard stories. A teacher whose ex opened 17 cards in her name. A contractor betrayed by his partner. In peer group, Kesha explained, the enabler hurts deepest. They legitimize the abuse and make you doubt reality. I shared the rejection letter proof. Elena knew for months and did nothing. That night, I couldn't sleep. I wrote a timeline instead. 2021 Victor's third LLC. Sarah's credit ruined and move out of state. 2022 Alex's apartment break-in stealing financial docs. Marcus's lawsuit and slashed tires. 2023 first forged auto loan rejected. 2024 rejection letter hidden. Second mortgage approved. Assault. Alex saw me writing at 3 a.m. This is our finding aid, I said. The Victor Kane Betrayal Archive. Malik, former paralegal, reviewed it and spotted shell companies. Unauthorized utility accounts. File with the FBI. This crosses lines. By morning Harper confirmed arrest warrants. Victor for assault and threats. Elena as accessory. The shelter became home while threats loomed. We attended weekly dinners, sharing stories of betrayal measured in account numbers and forged signatures. Everyone thinks financial abuse isn't real until it turns physical, Jerome said, nodding at my sling. I expanded the timeline with Malik's help. More LLCs registered at Elena's address. Insurance claims that didn't match reality. Patterns emerged of isolation and premeditation. Depositions began. Victor, in orange jumpsuit, still tried intimidation. She owes me 8 years under my roof. His lawyer quieted him, but the admission recorded family as financial assets. Elena's deposition cracked when shown the certified rejection letter with her signature on receipt. Victor said it was temporary. For the family. Sophia was being selfish. She admitted helping build the paper trail, making me look complicit. Because I chose him. Forensic accountant David Park confirmed digital forgery, pixel degradation, ink variations, signatures lifted from old documents, layered onto new ones. Marcus delivered composition notebooks from Victor's old files. Pages detailed strategy. Build credit in my name slowly. Establish family cooperation pattern. Leverage for large loans. Other victims listed. Former employees. Relatives. Victor viewed family as assets, not crimes. I photographed every page. Parallel tracks advanced. Criminal charges upgraded to conspiracy and organized fraud. Civil countersuit for identity theft and emotional distress. Financial clinic untangling debts. The Debt Amnesty Clinic launched as partnership between North Alder Legal Collective, Financial Crimes Unit, and Oak Ridge Library. I contributed my ClearFind system architecture adapted for identity verification, multi-factor authentication before forgiving fraudulent debts. Randy's latest lawsuit claimed defamation. Classic reversal. But forensic proof and notebooks sealed intent. Back at the library, Mrs. Harlan, senior librarian who'd trained me, found me coding new features late one night. She produced an old abandoned complaint form from 2 years ago noting irregularities at a check cashing place involving Victor. I saved it. Librarians archive everything. Evidence my fear was long-standing. Not revenge. The trial approached. Victor's attorney painted me vindictive. But Mrs. Harlan testified. Sophia is meticulous. She built our digital system. The old complaint admitted as business record. Security footage from the bank parking lot showed Victor entering with papers, accompanied by Tommy Briggs, convicted forger. Timestamp placed me at work reference desk. Courtroom tension thickened like the scent of old wood. Victor's lawyer Garrett Walsh spent 20 minutes portraying me as unstable, jealous of Elena's happiness. You lived rent-free for years, he pressed. I paid $800 monthly. Bank records prove it. You claim forgery but lack direct proof. Rebecca from North Alder objected. Forensic analysis submitted. Walsh challenged but then Mrs. Harlan entered carrying her folder. Rebuttal witness. She confirmed my character. The abandoned complaint noting Victor's involvement 2 years prior. She was afraid of retaliation. Seems justified. Video evidence played. Victor at notary desk with Briggs. Parole records showed Briggs specialized in handwriting recreation. David Park explained technical artifacts proving forgery. Victor's notebooks referenced hiring practice signatures. During break, Rebecca whispered a plea offer. Misdemeanor. Restitution. Minimal time. I refused. Like he was reasonable dislocating my shoulder or threatening arson? Trial resumed. Elena testified last. Looking diminished. She admitted receiving the letter. Knowing forgery attempts. Riding in the truck during bank visit. I thought Sophia would eventually agree. For family. Why help create the trail? Prosecutor pressed. Because I chose him and couldn't admit I chose wrong. Jury deliberated 3 hours. Guilty on all counts. Identity theft. Fraud. Conspiracy. Assault. Victor's rant about family owing him became his undoing. As officers led him away, Victor turned. This isn't over. Yes, it is. Elena received suspended sentence with restitution. The house would sell to cover debts. She approached after. Sophia. I held up my hand. You made choices. Every hidden letter. Every ignored bruise. Where will I go? Accountability looks like that. Alex and I walked into sunlight. My shoulder ached, but I breathed freely. Now we build better systems, I told him. The clinic expanded with my verification protocols, making identity theft harder than protection. Community finance amnesty events began monthly at the library. The first Community Financial Amnesty Day at Oak Ridge Library drew over 200 people. Consultation stations stood between book stacks. My adapted ClearFind system ran on the main screen, tracking more than books. At 2 p.m., I spoke into the microphone. Welcome. Like Book Amnesty, we help clear what shouldn't burden your record. Lines formed with folders of fraudulent debts stolen by strangers and family alike. Then Victor walked in. Out on bail, pending appeal. My shoulder twinged. Alex tensed near computers. Security watched. Victor approached, flanked by Walsh and Bradley Morrison from a recovery firm. Sophia. Discuss clearing this misunderstanding. No misunderstanding. You forged my signature. You're convicted. Walsh interjected. Under appeal. Here to negotiate restitution privately. I smiled thinly. This is a public event. Everything documented. Morrison placed a folder with a $30,000 check and non-disclosure agreement. Sign and issues disappear. Victor drops appeal. You drop suits. Clean slate like amnesty. I carried the folder to the room center. The crowd quieted. Victor wants amnesty, I announced. Our system requires steps. Acknowledge what you've taken. Return what isn't yours. Accept consequences. Amnesty isn't erasure. It's accountability after the ledger balances. Lieutenant Harper emerged. Approaching the victim violates bail. I returned to the desk, placing 3 labeled folders. Loan fraud. Identity theft. Witness intimidation. Special collections. Every document cataloged. Victor stepped forward aggressively. Morrison restrained him. Victor thought he could borrow my identity like a library book without return. David Park stood. Financial records show 5 more victims. Mrs. Harlan approached with bankers' boxes of evidence labeled with case numbers against Victor. Elena. Negligent banks. The crowd grew, recognizing former employees. Other victims. Aunt Sarah flown in. Marcus nearby. Even Briggs ready to testify. Victor realized he'd entered something larger. Keep your grudge. I'll win appeal. I clicked enter. The screen displayed fraudulent holds removed from my name. Then Marcus. Sarah. Others. Name after name populated, as debts cleared with proof. Today builds systems protecting us. Verifying identity before debt. Victor cycled through rage to realization. Every cleared name was a witness. Harper's officers approached with handcuffs for bail violation. I pulled a library card application. Banned from financial relationships here. But the library serves everyone. Learn ethics. Financial law. Amends. Books available. First, use your real name and return what you've borrowed. Officers led Victor away. Applause rose for relief. For a system that worked. Lucas said it was beautiful. Rebecca called it justice at the reference desk. The screen read, "All fraudulent holds removed. System ready for legitimate requests." Next morning, my regular shift resumed. Scanner beeped processing returns. A young woman approached clutching bank statements. My ex opened accounts. "We can help," I said. "Let me show you the system." My reflection in the monitor showed the same face but transformed. Libraries preserve truth, provide access, protect information, teach that amnesty requires balanced books and accountability. The scanner beeped again. Another record cleared. The system worked exactly as designed. What lingers is the question: when family becomes the thief? Who catalogs the betrayal and who finally pays the overdue price?